Lovely to see everybody on this wonderful summer morning in Vancouver. I am Catherine, as Tony said. This is Dwayne. My preferred pronouns are she, her, and Dwayne's are he, his.
And I'm her preferred husband.
I'm his preferred wife as well. That's how that goes. The format of this is hopefully going to be a bit interactive. We're going to do a tiny little talk / overview of the program, maybe 15 minutes, maybe 20, depending on how long Dwayne decides he needs to chat and expand on certain points, because he likes to do that just spontaneously as we do all of this. We invite you to ask your questions in the chat, to share your reactions with the little reaction button. It helps us to feel more connected to you as we go. And following that 20 minutes, we're going to invite Leanna and Craig up as well, two of our longtime facilitators and instructors of our program, also extremely well qualified clinical counselors. We'll be inviting them up as well to just chat more about this concept of relational intelligence, as well as to field your questions.
So I'm going to try and speak without going off on some tangent. I have a secret story I wanted to tell, but I don't know if I can.
Oh, look, see now, do you know what he just did? He was being very sneaky. Now you're all going to want to hear the secret story, but you're not going to hear it until the end of this whole thing. Right, when we chat, it's not sneaking into our presence. No, it's not.
I know, not yet, but it's in the room. I like.
No, you brought it in the room.
I know, successfully. Okay. Despite our frivolity, we've been through a lot in the last 4 years, personally and professionally, as most people in the world have. And that difficult process has led us to a lot of personal reflection about the essence of what our work is. We've landed in the fundamental importance of relational intelligence as the foundation for actually being fully alive. What is relational intelligence? We're going to learn a lot more about that here today, as well as in the course, obviously. And if I could haiku it, although I didn't count my syllables, it's really about making the invisible visible, seeing what is there, but what is hidden in all our relationships, making so much more visible. We're going to talk a lot more about this a little bit later. But that's really what it's all about, is the magical experience of making the invisible visible.
And this is why relational intelligence is a thing, because so many of us are operating from a sense of disconnection. More people say they feel lonely than ever before, despite the fact that apparently we're more connected than ever before, right? Through our devices, et cetera, et cetera. For several decades, social scientists have been asking people how many close connections they have that they would turn to in a crisis. And when they started asking this question, the average answer was 3. In 2004, the highest average answer was none, meaning most people answered, I have nobody that I would turn to in a crisis, which is shocking to me. Mm-hmm. Loneliness is extremely painful, including physically. When you feel lonely, your heartbeat increases, your cortisol, your stress hormones activate. Humans are wired for connection and wired to care biologically. The fact that we exist today is because our ancestors figured out how to work together in tribes. We are elephants, not grizzly bears.
We're like elephants.
We're elephants.
We're elephants. Okay.
We need to belong and we need to love. And this disconnection is from others and from self. These two are intertwined, as we shall see.
So connection actually isn't optional. It's not optional. We're connected all of the time, whether we decide to be connected or not. We like to think of ourselves as individuals who have the option to connect or not. But everything we think, feel, say, or do is always influencing others. And we are also constantly being influenced by those around us. Those switches are on all of the time, despite the fact you think you can turn it off. We define self and experience self through relationships with others. We can distance in a relationship or cut off from someone by unfriending them, for example, on Facebook, right? But this isn't actually disconnecting. It's putting something into the relationship, even as you might think that you're taking yourself away. So problems occur in these lines. That's where also they get refueled through our actions and our communication. Again, that's on all of the time. From this perspective, every connection either reinforces the problem or helps the whole evolve to a healthier state. And there's no neutral moments. All moments count all of the time. We have no choice about whether we're connected, but we do have choice about how we're going to, or how well we connect.
So this is how that works. Every time that you have an interaction with another human, there's two things happening. There's what you are saying with your words, which is the content, and underlying that is an emotional communication to that person, a relationship message. That relationship message is conveyed through tone of voice, body language, eye contact, lack of eye contact, and so on.
It's like what I wanted to tell my story, and Catherine says, no, you can't tell the story now. That was a content message. No, you can't. But there was actually a very friendly 80%, you know.
I was still not giving you permission.
No, I know that, but you were,
It's the
you were letting
80%.
me know that you cared about me.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely. I do
Yeah.
care about you.
You could have said, no, you're not going to, and actually conveyed an 80% message that you don't care about me.
I could have.
Yeah, and you didn't.
And if you keep pushing it, I might. We might lean in that area. So that emotional or relationship message is more powerful than the content. Relationship message overrides content. When we try to resolve issues, we often do so on the basis of content, the 20% or the so-called facts. Let me tell you, I have never seen a couple, when they are disputing an issue, agree on the facts. It is the relationship message that we react to first. And that relationship message is what allows us to take in the content.
Or deal with the content.
People remember and respond to how they feel with a person. They don't necessarily remember every single word that was said. You influence and teach others based on what you believe about yourself and others and life, and you do it emotionally through this relationship message. You are also influenced by others based on what they believe about themselves, about you, and about life on this emotional relationship message level.
And this all starts right from the very, very beginning, right from birth. We're wired actually and initially entirely for connection. It's how we actually become ourselves. When we see ourselves being seen, much like in this picture, hear ourselves being heard, and feel ourselves being felt by our caregiver initially, this is how we become ourselves. This is our natural state, and it starts right from infancy. So we'd like to show you a video clip. Some of you may have seen this already. It's quite a famous little video. It's only about 3 minutes long, and it was by Ed Tronick, a psychologist in the 80s. And in this clip, mom is asked to interact normally with her little daughter, her infant daughter. And when a bell rings, to stop interacting and hold her face absolutely still and expressionless. This doesn't last very long, but actually watch what happens.
Babies this young are extremely responsive to the emotions and the reactivity and the social interaction that they get from the world around them. This is something that we started studying 30, 40 years ago, when people didn't think that infants could engage in social interaction. In the still face experiment, what the mother did was she sits down and she's playing with her baby, who's about a year of age.
I'm my good girl. Oh.
And she gives a greeting to the baby gives a greeting back to her.
Yeah.
This baby starts pointing at different places in the world, and the mother's trying to engage her and play with her. They're working to coordinate their emotions and their intentions, what they want to do in the world. And that's really what the baby is used to. And then we ask the mother to not respond to the baby. The baby very quickly picks up on this, and then she uses all of her abilities to try and get the mother back. She smiles at the mother. She points because she's used to the mother looking where she points. The baby puts both hands up in front of her and says, "What's happening here?" She makes that screechy sound at the mother, like, come on, why aren't we doing this? Even in this 2 minutes, when they don't get the normal reaction, they react with negative emotions, they turn away, they feel the stress of it, they actually may lose control of their posture because of the stress that they're experiencing.
Okay. I'm here. And what are you doing? Oh, yes. Oh, what a big girl.
It's a little like the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is that normal stuff that goes on, that we all do with our kids. The bad is when something bad happens, but the infant can overcome it. After all, when you stop the still face, the mother and the baby start to play again. The ugly is when you don't give the child any chance to get back to the good. There's no reparation, and they're stuck in that really ugly situation.
I have seen this clip numerous times, and I remember about a year ago I watched it again, and those words, mother and daughter, are working to coordinate emotion and intention, and that just started to really land with me. Not just in the linear mother to daughter,
In this case,
attention, but actually it's both ways. They're attempting to coordinate emotion and tension. The child's pointing to areas in the room, inviting the mother to enter, and she can participate and communicate and add more to it. And they both, and the daughter starts realizing that somebody else has emotions there too, not just her own, but they can coordinate together. This coordination is extremely important for a child and for us as adults. It never becomes less important over time. It gets more covered up. But that need both ways remains. And this is called the process of attunement.
the experience of connection, the actual felt experience of connection, is all about attunement. We feel connected when we see ourselves being seen, hear ourselves being heard, and feel ourselves being felt. It's a whole embodied experience. We all have a unique core self, a self, like a little thumbprint, unique to us. And when our inner experience, when that core self is accurately reflected back to us, we become that self. When we aren't reflected back to ourselves in this way, we become something else. We develop an inauthentic or strategic personality. So we become ourselves, real or strategic, through all the different interactions that we have with important others. particularly in our childhood. It starts in our childhood, but continues into adulthood. And this concept might seem really simple on the surface, but it's actually quite a complex process when you consider all the different relationship systems that we're a part of.
So how much can you be your real self? At work, with your friends, or with your partner, or on Instagram or Facebook? At work, we're expected to be professional, which often means not discussing anything much beyond the tasks at hand and projecting an image that says, you know, I've got this. And yet we all come with a certain amount of, gender and cultural programming, which may or may not fit with actually who we actually are. And I say that one sentence, gender and cultural programming, and it is really volumes worth of material, which we really get into in this course. We may run into power dynamics that make it difficult actually to be honest. Whether you are a person under an authority figure or whether you are a person who is an authority figure. Power dynamics exist in families too, even with parents and adult children. So what we run into here exists both internally, embedded in our psyche, and externally, embedded in society. We are handed that mask or armor very early on and taught when to use it.
So the world around us, our families, societies, institutions teach us values, belief, customs, assumptions about how to make sense of the world, which becomes our worldview. This is how we make sense of ourselves, our experiences, and our reality. So our worldview and our sense of self is shaped by the systems in which we live. Family, cultural, social, institutional, religious, political, and so on. The assumptions that we hold, for the most part, come from those systems that have shaped us. These are the lenses that we look through that determine our subjective reality. So we become a particular way, real or strategic, within, and then we also hold a whole bunch of assumptions that are like lenses through which we view the world that also dictates our behavior.
So life ends up organizing itself around what we put into our relationship system. Most of the problems we face in life are actually, when they're all unpacked, all these problems, when they're unpacked, they're actually really relationship problems. Even though we don't necessarily experience it that way or even explain it that way. Depression, anxiety, health, so many issues, when unwrapped, reveal relationship problems. They rarely actually get addressed that way, however. But they actually determine whether there is resolution. And the whole system will organize itself around what each person puts into it.
So real connection requires being real. That might seem like a really obvious, simple statement, but it's a lot more complicated than it appears. You will not feel connected if you're wearing a mask or operating from strategy or defense. It's like there would be a little voice whispering behind you in the back of your mind, oh, if you really knew me, you won't feel connected. So if you're like most people, you may not be aware of operating from strategy or defense because we're just so programmed to be what is expected of us. When we're disconnected from self, we're not capable of seeing others accurately, and particularly those who are close to us.
Mm-hmm. Real connection happens when we see ourselves being seen, hear ourselves being heard, and feel ourselves being felt. You're not going to hear enough of this from us. It is so, so vitally important. We need to connect to our real self and practice. Did I say the word practice? Practice being that self. This isn't just a cognitive process. It's actually entering this territory, practicing what this means. This is what we do in therapy and in all our relationships. However, it's also what we all need to learn to do with each other, to get beyond our programming enough to see another human being accurately. There's nothing more powerful, magical, alive than seeing another person accurately or being seen accurately. And the more real we feel to ourselves, the more we are able to accurately perceive others. And we do this by bringing ourselves forward honestly and vulnerably, and being willing to see, hear, and feel the other, particularly when seeing the other actually this isn't so comfortable. And this is a practice. Did I say the word practice before as well? Practice. We have created our real life program because we all need to learn how to do this. It isn't enough to send a bunch of good therapists out into the world. We all have to learn how to be real and how to create a space that gives others the same kind of permission.
The experience of being recognized accurately activates our internal connection to our core self. We make contact with that inner seed again, and we begin to blossom. Real connection is where we find true happiness in life. Research has clearly shown that we're happier, healthier, and live longer when we feel connected, legitimately feel connected. So the gift in developing relational intelligence in real life is that as we enter our world and run into the predictable roadblocks and dead ends, we begin to see once invisible pathways to connection turn into visible pathways to connection. Those pathways were always there. This is accomplished by personal experience in the program and witnessing those normally invisible pathways become visible over and over again, personally and with others. It's a magical experience watching this whole hidden new world reveal itself.
Brave new world.
So that, my friends, in 20 minutes is what our 20-week real program is ultimately all about.
And yeah.
20 minutes because you did blah, blah, and add stuff.
How much did I blah, blah?
Oh, like an extra 5 at least.
An extra 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Me personally?
Oh, yeah, totally.
And you loved every second of it.
So we are going to have a little bit more of an informal chat, which means that we're going to invite
just said that was 5 minutes of
extra practice,
practice.
because Dwayne really needs the practice.
no, we need the practice, and we're practicing it right now.
We're going to invite Leanna, the wonderful Dr. Leanna Medill, and Craig Wanless, both master therapeutic counselors, up to have a little chat about relational intelligence further.
Is a master therapeutic counselor and registered counseling supervisor, designation with ACCT. He has worked for Clear Mind for over 12 years as an instructor for the practitioners counselor training program and workshops facilitator, and runs his own private practice called Benchmark Counseling. Craig has diploma in transpersonal counseling psychology with Clear Mind and is a registered breathwork trainer as well. He is completing his designation in AEPP, Accelerated Experiential Dynamic Psychotherapy, has over 20 years experience working with youth and teens, both in counseling and coaching. He has worked as a family service counselor and consultant, contracted through the Ministry of Child and Family Development and Child and Youth Special Needs. During his time in family services, he helped develop and deliver a very successful parenting workshop through various agencies, wrote the parenting meditation handbook for the agency he worked for, and has consulted for youth programs and teen camps aimed towards rights of pansexual. Lots of experience. And Liana as well, my God, she is Dr. Liana Russo, holds a master's therapeutic counselor and registered supervisor for counselors. She has been proudly teaching with Clear Mind for 9 years, where she also draws a PhD in education to teach and create curriculum. We think she is Dr. Love. Yeah, she's a doctor and she's passionate about supporting people in their personal and relational evolution and helping people navigate how to live with love and compassion in complex world. So not only Dwayne and Catherine will be teaching this amazing real life program, but Leanne and Craig will be as well with us. Thank you.
Sony.
Thanks, Sony.
Thank you.
So now we get to do the fun, spontaneous part, team.
Yeah, everyone should know that we have, Catherine and I taught the program last year for the most part from beginning to end. Craig and Leanna did come in for a couple of classes, but this year it's going to be shared much more equitably. But we have run the program and worked out a whole lot of the bugs of it in this first year. I'm pretty excited about coming into the second year.
So as you watch us do that whole presentation, what are you reflecting on, either one of you? Before I just randomly start throwing questions out.
Yeah, I'm happy to start. I just was taking some of the key pieces that you were, and of course, maybe Craig and I have also done the similar program and practiced a lot of these skills as well. And one of the things that was
You helped write this program.
I did. So what I'm thinking about my own personal life is you're saying about making the invisible visible and saying that we're always in connection. So I'm a storyteller. And so one of the things that I'm thinking is, I just want to share with people about, I remember this moment standing in my kitchen with my husband and we're in a disagreement. And, you know, it's going back and forth with all those facts that you're talking about. And he says to me, well, you're pissed off. And I was like, yes, I am. And right there, you could see his body go, like, he's going to get more defensive and he's going to take in that breath. And it's in that moment that I say, well, I'm only pissed off at a 3 out of 10. And his body literally, if only it was videotaped, his body just comes like, oh, and it comes down. Like, pissed off 3 isn't bad. We tend to think when we hear what someone's feeling, it's always at a 10, but mine wasn't. It was probably more irritated or annoyed or whatever. But once I said that and I made the invisible visible to him, so he mentioned it, I spoke to it, and all of a sudden our interaction and our relationship was much better right there in that moment, because I was understood and seen and heard, and he wasn't under the same amount of threat. And it's that simple. It doesn't always have to be like all positive and roses, but it's in that moment that we became closer to each other.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yay, thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful.
Thanks.
How about for you, Craig? What do you reflect on?
Mostly around how, you know, the idea of relational intelligence, or, you know, what we call interpersonal intelligence or social intelligence, how most people have an idea of what that means, but it's so extremely difficult to actually practice when we're in trying to connect, especially with people that are really important to us. It's probably the area that I revisit the most with all of my clients. Doesn't matter whether it's couples or individuals or families. I am constantly working at reiterating and helping them come to a place of more calm and ease in their body when they're trying to communicate something that's really important to them, to an important other. It's just, it's that practice over and over and over again that really wires our ability to speak in a way and communicate in a way that the relationship becomes first, not just the words.
Mhm. And you just said something really key there about somatic awareness, being aware of what's happening in your body as you're talking,
Mhm.
which is so important. Because if we're activated, meaning if our bodies are ready to fight, it's literally the nervous system reaction being fight, flight, right? If our bodies are activated in that way, we can be so impulsive, and we all have circuits kind of wired into us based on what actual physical state that we're in. And so to be able to practice coming back to a different way of connecting, first of all, to ourselves, and then to input that into the connection with others is a really key part of the process. And that isn't just not something that you learn in a 20-minute session. That takes real ongoing practice. Even me personally, if I was to say one thing that's I've become most aware of, particularly over COVID, when I did a lot of self-reflecting in that time period. It's the actual felt, how disconnected I can be at times from my own felt experience, and how much I can be floating around up here on my shoulders, just trying to figure things out, as opposed to letting myself settle in here, which is the only place that we're actually going to feel connected to anyone anyway, because it's all a feeling. If there's a feeling involved, it's going to be about your body in some form or fashion.
We have to learn how to, the buzzword in psychology these days, even though that we've been doing this for years and years and years in Clearmind, of the importance of connection. We've said for 30 years, without connection, there is no correction. So there's a whole lot of practitioners in this world with different ideologies, kind of continuing on with that idea of I need to connect. But that isn't just a decision. In order to connect with someone, you have to connect with yourself before you can connect with another human being. And if you are in reaction yourself, or in strategy or defense, or needing to be in control, despite your want to connect with another, you won't be able to, because your anxiety system elevated, a defended system, will only see what it's looking for. Even in your attempt to connect, you will only see what you're looking for. And if you're in anxiety, you may be looking for danger. You might be looking for evidence of fear, and that's what you're going to connect to. But if you can regulate yourself, much like Leanna just talked about with her husband, like communicating, here's what's actually happening for me, that allows you to see more accurately another human being as well. But if Leanna were upset, if you got upset about him being upset, despite the fact that you both want to connect, you're not going to succeed in doing it. Somebody has to come from an actual real human place. And that doesn't happen just because you read a book or listen to a good talk here. It happens because you learn how to practice it, of actually unpeeling and unpacking who you are underneath it all in order to witness another human being accurately. And when you do, it's magical, it's powerful, it's passionate, it's alive, it's got nothing but vitality. You're going to have a good day, much like Leanna described. You had a good day after you said that.
Oh yeah, way better.
Right? So it takes so little to have so much, if you can learn how to do what you just did there.
Mhm.
So what would be the thing for each of you, the thing that you, if you could give humans one magic skill that therapists know?
This is Catherine's new thing, you know.
I
we-
know.
I can't remember.
Enjoying my interviewing thing.
What were we on just recently? We're in the middle of doing a presentation of some kind. What was it?
No, we weren't presenting, we were just chatting.
With who though?
The Facebook community.
Yes, yes, it was, that's right. It was an
But
online
you can
Facebook.
let me.
But I know, but she started interviewing me. She's never done that before. Now she's running
That's-
with it.
But that's what we're doing.
I like
It's
it.
We're
relational.
We're tapping
it.
Craig and Leanna's wisdom
No,
right now.
I may start interviewing you soon.
But we want to interview them right
Yeah.
now. But yes, you can. What do you think? One magic skill that therapists know that humans in general need to know.
Oh, I mean, the first thing that comes to me is to piggyback off of the relational intelligence into emotional intelligence. I mean, if we can't figure out how to cultivate things like self-awareness, create empathy and understanding, communicate in an effective way, I mean, we're lost. I mean, it's not about agreeing on things. It's about, you know, learning to continue to build relationships and resolution through potentially difficult, you know, divisive conversations. And to me, the biggest piece of that is emotional intelligence. You know, when I witness folks cultivate that particular skill, they seem to start to thrive in many aspects of their life. You know, so yeah, to me, that's the one that I wish you know, everybody could just know how to do. And again, I mean, that grows over time. You know, I'm still building on my emotional intelligence. You know, I started my own therapeutic and self-help, whatever healing journey, you know, 19, 20 years ago. And
would you say, Craig, that what you just talked about is it's at most impactful when you apply it to the difficult moments, not just the easy ones?
Of course. Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Right where there appears to be nothing to do but what you typically have done your whole life to actually apply it. That's where the magic is.
Absolutely, because when we enter into difficult moments, it stretches our capacity beyond what we know, you know. And so if we can create a framework or an understanding on how to do that, it isn't about getting the right response from the other person. You know, I think I saw in the chat there, you know, it's being quite intimidated by the probable exposure. Well, actually, we have to build resilience to actually being able to expose ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The fear that we hold isn't actually true. I'm not saying it's not hard and it doesn't hurt when people don't respond in a kind way. But what we make that mean just isn't true. It's not. That's old crap that we hold from our childhood. You know? So when we lean into that difficulty, we're actually stretching beyond what we think we know, entering into that old dangerous territory. And that's actually where we grow. You know, the old analogy of being in the gym working the muscles. The first day you do it, you're sore. You know, like but you actually have to stress the muscles. Emotions work the same way. Now, I'm not saying we go to our most difficult place and we stretch our muscles into the most difficult, conflictual, not safe humans. We want to be, you know, methodical about this. You know, we want to create a space where people can feel safe enough to do this. And that's why we're continuing to trying to do the work that we do in this program with Real, you know, outside of what we did in our counselor training program. This is a much deeper dive into leaning into that and actually cultivating a safe space where we can try and have difficult moments, knowing, not necessarily feeling, but knowing that we're safe so that we can grow and heal.
Yeah, that's it. I'm just going to piggyback on that. Well, that was good. But you're just leaning into the practice piece. And I know we keep saying the practice, but that is actually what's in the Real program. There's a lot of time for practicing, which is what our our bodies actually need time for in relationship with another to practice these things that we're uncomfortable with. So when you said the thing that what would I want for the magic skill? I mean, feel like I'm cheating, but I want to say like accountability. And that encompasses so many things, very similar to what Craig's saying, but accountability means knowing yourself. It means knowing what's happening emotionally, what's happened in your past that's influencing this present moment, and how you are bringing that, how it's evolving right here in front of you, and how it's having impact on the other person. And accountability is about listening to the other person as well. How good are our listening skills to be able to hear what is the impact I'm having on you, positive or negative? If I'm having a positive experience, can I listen to that? Can I receive what that's like? If I'm having a negative experience, can I tolerate what does it like to hear that and know what's happening in the dynamic between both of us? So that, yeah.
Sorry. Can you imagine, this is the good news and the bad news about all that, about getting to know somebody. We never will actually entirely get to know another human being in their entirety. That's good news in that there's always something more to learn and understand about who you're with, even if you've been with them for 20 years.
Or more.
Or more, 25.
More.
So that's not a defeat, but I will never totally get there, but there's always something new to learn and grow and evolve together and to continuing to see the depth and the infinity of who two people are together, or any one person actually is, which enters a bit of a spiritual dimension then too, in terms of that we try to understand the human psyche, the human experience, the human being simply in psychological terms will never ever address the entire notion that we are so much more than that. There's so much when you're looking someone in the eyes in the middle of something, there's so much more to them than you have no idea. And that can be exciting. It should be.
How are we doing for time? Are we?
We are 9 minutes to 12. So I
9
think
minutes to
it's
12.
time. Yeah. So that would be great if we use that time for questions. If anyone has, well, I got one question from someone in the audience, but I don't know if it's good for you if we start some questions.
Actually, it would be good if that person could come on and just.
If anybody has we probably have time for a couple questions. We're going to play you a testimonial or two, and then wrap and do our draw. We're going to do our draw for an extra 300 off by the end of it all too.
Okay, who would like to ask any question? Well, the question I have, the person wants me to do it anonymously. And this person is asking that how real life program would specifically help with my family of origin brokenness if I am the only one taking the program?
That's a good question. Craig or Leanna, do you want to tackle it first?
I'll let Leanna.
Well done. We said we were going
I'm
to.
happy to do it too. I just am trying to give you the airtime as well.
I'll start.
Yeah.
Yes,
I need to see the words also when somebody says it. Otherwise, I don't take it in well.
Yeah.
Basically, the synopsis is, how can I, if I'm the only person doing the thing, will it make a difference? Is the summary.
I see.
Yes. Yes. So I can speak to that personally, is absolutely, you can make a difference in your family of origin. And I think it's a really important question, actually, because anyone who's stepping forward usually is someone who's saying, I need something different. And so you are going to have an impact on those around you. So whatever changes you make about knowing yourself, about being able to communicate, about emotionally regulating in relationship to another, and learning the skills of how to be there in relationship, will already shift and change all of those dynamics with the people in your family. What will happen is they will have to figure out how to be in relationship with you, who's changing that contract between the two of you. And that becomes some of that mystery and excitement that Dwayne's talking about, is things can shift and change even in those dynamics, even if they're not doing the work.
Yeah, all those relationship patterns are like dance steps. And if you change your dance steps, the familiar dance can't happen.
Yeah.
Right? Like it will have to change and adjust to you. If you can shift yourself and hang on to yourself in your new position, the dynamics have to shift around you. They can't not.
If you can be different when the other is being the same and not depend upon other to be different in order for you to be different, that is developing relational intelligence. If the other isn't showing the invisible, that it's there.
Yeah, we're constantly teaching people how to be in relationship with us. And so everything that we put into the relationship, no matter what they decide to do, matters. Because the thing is, if we actually know who we are, we just won't stay in relationship with terrible people. We'll know our boundaries, we'll know how to hold them, we'll know how to speak to them, and we will continue to teach what's acceptable and not acceptable in the world around us.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody does that, maybe there's a ripple through the world.
Yeah, and when we're talking about relationship, we are not talking about primary relationship, right? We are talking about connection.
Yeah.
We
Everybody.
started this whole thing by saying you cannot not be connected.
Yeah.
You are in relationship, singles. You are. Everybody is in relationship all of the time. So should I share our closing slides here? Is it time? Do we think?
Yeah, and there is another question. What would be the difference between students that have studied the prac and the real life?
The difference is really a lot more focus on self and what it means in your own personal life, in your own personal relationships, right? When we're doing prac, we do a certain amount of that because we feel like prac, being our counselor training program, for those who are unfamiliar, that we no longer teach, we're winding that down. We believe that you cannot be a good counselor unless you have a good sense of yourself. However, we're still putting a fair bit of emphasis on just the skills that you need to learn. And here it's just all about who you are in your world and how you're going to do your relationships differently.
And our programs don't remain static. Half the students that took REAL last year were prac grads who took the program and got tremendous benefit out of it, because Catherine and Dwayne, and now Craig and Deanna joining the teaching program, we don't remain static. We keep developing our skills, developing new ideas. We keep going in new places and remain excited about understanding the human dilemma as we get older. So it's like we're at the cutting edge of ourselves.
Some of us more
time.
older than the others.
Some of us. Because I'm older than everybody.
You are older than everybody on this screen at this moment.
Can I tell my story?
No. With 3 minutes?
I agree.
And we love you.
Yes, we love you as well. We love you. You're important to us, and you cannot tell your story.
I'll post it.
You can post
There you
it.
go.
Everybody look for Dwayne's story on Facebook. And Instagram. He'll post
Well,
it.
it'll be in the first class. If you take the course, you can.
Of course, my permission is well. You can post it.
Now I want to know that story. I'm so
I know.
curious about that.
You're gonna have to check him out. Check him out on Facebook. He'll post it.
Okay, we will have to wait then. I would like to share about our amazing promotion about the real life program. If there is anything else that we need to add before I go to the prices that people have been asking.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, so I've been putting on the chat a link with the information of real life program and as well the prices with our early bird discount. And as well, we have 2 winners already for another additional $300. And our winners are, it's time to say who our winners are.
Oh, yeah, do it. Tell them.
Okay, well,
So they can do their happy dance.
congratulations.
They have to be here.
So congratulations to Adrian and Jane.
Ooh, Adrian
And then
Jane.
Jane, yeah. So I
That's
don't see, where
exciting.
are you from? Are you from Canada, UK? I would like to know if you can come up camera and let us know how do you feel about winning this extra $100, $300. So it would be $800 for you.
It's Sony. She has social anxiety, but she's very happy to invite everybody.
Sorry.
Here you get the win, but you have a good speech.
Yeah. Well, once I'm so excited and once
I
I'm,
know.
the
Once you
party,
get
I
excited,
forget
you're in
about
there.
what social excitement there is. So, okay, yeah, but in respect of timing, guys, you let me know. You can always contact client services at clearmind.com. As well, I posted the phone number. I will post it again, and I will put the links with all the information. I'm super happy to help you, and I will provide a code. So for the 2 winners, Adrian and Jane, please contact me personally so I can provide you with that.
Yes, I'm very
Awesome.
excited for you both.
That's
Enjoy.
for me. So thank you so much. Is there anything else, guys, you want to say for the closing?
Dwayne has also made himself, our early bird $500 off the total is effective until August 1st, correct? August 1st is the deadline.
Yeah, August. And another thing, if someone has more questions about this program, Dwayne, are you offering some minutes for someone who wants
Yep.
to?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
offering 15-minute Zoom chats, but you have to email me. There's my email address.
Okay. I will
And
put-
you may even hear my story then.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody will just want to email him to come.
Oh, they're
and
just gonna
tell
call
his
you.
story
Can you
then.
just tell me the story, please?
No, I won't do that.
His story.
Okay, guys. So please you keep making the closing while I'm writing all this information on the side chat
Sounds good.
about the links and the clear mind and everything else. So I love you, everybody.
So big, huge thank you to everybody for joining us today. We have, if you want to poke your nose into more information about the program, there is lots of information available on the website. By all means, contact Dwayne if you want a little private 15-minute chat. And testimonials are out there on social media as well. We were going to show those to you, but they're exactly the same ones that are out on social media. So please do check those out.
Or if you want to see our movie that has been released, the documentary, real.movie, and it'll take you right to that site and you can download the full-length feature on our work as well.
Yeah, for anybody who's completely unfamiliar, that's a really good way to kind of get a taste of who we are and what we do. Anything either one of you want to add before we say goodbye to the wonderful humans who took time out of their Saturday to join us?
Just that I'm personally really excited to continue this journey and really hope that you know, if it, you know, whether the time's right for you now or not, or if you come across people that are interested in doing a deep dive into their own personal work, you know, send them our way. We would love to meet them, and we're just really excited about this. Our goal is to build this bigger and bigger every year, hopefully. So
Yeah, and I'll just say that I look forward to our paths crossing in whatever work you're doing here and hopefully in the real program online in the fall.
In a world that desperately needs this kind of awareness, consciousness, heart, compassion, and love for the intrinsic human condition.